Welcome to online class. Hope you are well by the grace of Almighty. Today I will discuss a very interesting poem to autumn written by John Keats for the students of honors first year under affiliated colleges of National University. And this class is presented by Diponkor Chandra Datta, lecturer, Department of English, Ananda Mohan College, Mymensingh. Before going to the text, I am telling you about the background of the poet and the poem. John Keats, an English romantic lyric poet, was born in 1795 in London. He lost his parents at a very early age. He was a student of medicine and apprentice to a surgeon, but had full inclination towards literature. He was dedicated to the perfection of poetry, marked by vivid imagery that expressed a philosophy through classical legend. Keats wrote sonnets, odes, and epics. Some of his most famous works are Lamia, Ode on a Grecian Urn, Ode to Skylark, to Autumn, and Hyperion. Unfortunately, at the age of 25, he died of tuberculosis. To Autumn is the finest literary speech of John Keats. The poet composed it at 24th in September in 1819. It is an impersonal or objective poem that describes the fruits, sights, and sounds of an autumn. There is no human being in the poem. There is only autumn in the shape of a woman with his seasonal bounty, activities, and songs. The poem is divided into 3 stanzas consisting of 11 lines. In the poem, the first stanza presents ripening of the fruits, that means or signifies ripening of every human being. The second stanza presents autumn afternoon, that signifies the death of a person, and the final stanza presents autumn evening, that signifies funeral songs. That means what type of funeral songs are performed after the death of a man. To Autumn, season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to loot and bless with fruits the vines that round the thatch eaves run, to bend with apples the most cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripens to the core, to swell the gorge and plumb the hazel shells with a sweet kernel, to set budding more, and still more later flowers for the bees, until they think warm days will never cease, for summer has overbrimmed their clammy shells. In this stanza, we'll find some new words. These are milo, that's mean fully ripe and tasty. Fruitfulness, that means complete harvest. The maturing sun, that means the hot sun that helps ripen fruits. Conspiring, that means working secretly. Most cottage trees, that means most covered trees grown around small houses. Gourd, a kind of vegetables like pumpkins. Hazel, a kind of small trees that produce a kind of edible nuts. Shells, a kind of nut. Kernel, the edible part with the hard shell, overbrimmed, full to the outer cover. In the first stanza, the poet personified autumn, and autumn is considered the season of mists or fogs and mellow fruitfulness. Here, autumn is considered as a close friend, that's mean bosom friend or intimate collaborator of the sun. Both of them are working secretly for the ripening of the fruits. The season of autumn is conspiring with the sun how to ripe the fruits which are in the season of autumn. The grapes or the vines are falling on the extended portion of the straw in the season of autumn. There is another activity of autumn is that the apples are fully loaded with the sweetness. That's why they are touching the ground by having their branches close to the trees. The fruits are full of sweetness and ripens through and through. And here the poet tells both of each other work to swell the gourd, to enlarge the hazel shells and their sweet kernel, and to bloom the later flowers for the bees who think that summer will never end, though the honeycomb is filled with the honey to the brim. Then the second stanza, who hath not seen thee oft amid thy store, and sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting carelessness on a granary floor, thy hair uplifted by the winnowing wind, or on a half-ribbed furrow sound sleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies, while thy hoe spared the next swath and all its twinned flowers, and sometimes like a gleaner thou dost keep and steady thy leaden head across a brook, or by a cedar press with patient look thou watchest the last oozing hours by hours. In this stanza, we also find some new words. These are granary, that's mean the place where grains are separated from straw and husk. Gleaner, a person who picks up the left out in a reaped field. Oozing, that's mean falling of juice. And in the second stanza of the poem, Keats personified autumn as a working woman of English villages. The poet says that everyone knows what she does and where she is found. Sometimes he will find you sitting on a granary floor carelessly when your hair is uplifted by the wind of the season, or sometimes he may find you asleep on a half-ripped cropland, drowsed with the fume of poppies, while your hook lies near the unripped crops, and sometimes you cross a brook with the bundle of ripped crops on your head like a gleaner, and sometimes you work with the juice maker patiently for a long time. Then the final stanza or third stanza, where are the songs of spring? Ay, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. While bared clouds bloom the soft dying day, and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. Then in a wailful cheer, the small cans mourn among the river shallows, borne aloft, or sinking as the light wind lives or dies, and full-blown lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne. Has cricket sing, and now with treble soft the red-breast whistles from a garden cropped, and gathering swallows twitter in the sky. Here we also find some new words. These are wailful, that's mean in melancholic tone. A garden cropped means a field comprising gardens. In the final stanza, the poet is asking a question to the readers. Where are the songs of spring? Where are they? And in the second line of the stanza, he is also answering this question. Do not think of them. You have your own music. Here, the speaker consoles her, saying that she has her own music too. During the sunset, when the pitches of cloud and the open fields become rosy, the small guns mourn among the river shallows in a wailful cheer. Their sounds rise and fall with the rise and fall of the wind, and the grown-up lambs bleat loud from the hilly areas. Has cricket sing from the garden craft, and the red-breast whistles at the top voice, and gathering swallows twitter in the sky. Then move to the next slide. we know the poem is full of literary forms or genres. In this poem, we will find different types of literary forms or figures of speeches. In this slide, I have mentioned some figures of speeches. These are, suppose, ode means an ode is a lyric poem addressed to someone and ends with consolation. Personification means personification is a figure of speech in which a lifeless object is given life. For example, autumn. Alliteration, the repetition of the consonant sound at the beginning or within words are called alliteration. For example, in this poem we find mist and mellow fruitfulness. In these words, mist, the first letter is M, and mellow fruitfulness, the first letter is M, so it is alliteration. Onomatopoeia, the naming of a thing or action by a vocal imitation of the sound associated with it. This type of mode is called onomatopoeia. For example, with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run. And the poem is also full of imageries. These imageries are thatched eaves run, mellow fruitfulness, mossed cottage trees, etc. Dear learners, if you feel any problem, then you will write your difficulty in message option or inbox me. Thanks to all.